in all of this, let me also quickly switch to another aspect that's, making headlines. The US president, he's talking about, you talk about Prime Minister being very decisive. The US president talks about him having played a role in bringing a ceasefire between India and Pakistan.
I think everyone on our side has already corrected it.
And yet he continues to say so.
No. That you're going into another area of discussion. I'm not going to succumb to the temptation of joining that discussion. Everyone in a decision-making thing has clarified it in our time that we got a request from the Pakistani side. In 22 minutes, please remember, 22 minutes, 9 of their sites, which were terror sites, hundreds of kilometers in, Muridke, Bahawalpur, the security infrastructure, Daito Tibet, the evidence of that devastation is available in the public domain globally through commercially available satellite imagery. After that, they called us, the DGMO called us, and we responded. You can have 2 points of view, whether we should have hammered them more or not, but a democratically elected Prime Minister took the correct decision. And I think it's there. And after that, I don't want to get into that rest.
Please do.
No, I will not. Because you have to, there are responsible ways of dealing with country. I think the External Affairs Minister made it very clear. It was a bilateral request received from their DGMO, to which our DGMO responded, and that's the absolute fact.
And yet, we have leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi,
now,
saying Narendra surrender, and Modi says,
the leader of opposition to whom you referred is one of a kind. He's literally one of a kind. I don't think there are too many people like him. And if you were to compile all the statements he's made all over the years, so I was being interviewed by someone they're surprised. I said, what are you surprised at? That he's the leader of opposition, or you're surprised that he speaks that language? I would like the leader of opposition to concentrate with issues. If he doesn't have the familiarity, the functioning of his governments in Himachal and Karnataka, see what all is happening there. Insofar as this thing, he should not make any statement which either has the effect of undermining the official position of the security forces, and at least he should listen to his own party members who went as part of the all-party delegations outside. Their statements are on record. Why is it so difficult to be a Deshbhakt? Why do people in India have difficulty with that? Statements by at least 3 or 4 of their leaders come to my mind. Yeah. And I think if he only listens to that, he might gain something. He might learn something.
So, by implication, are you saying that Rahul Gandhi is not being a Deshbhakt?
I didn't say that. You said it. No, he said you said some surrender or something. What is he talking about? Has he seen, compared to what his government did in 22 minutes, the devastation which was visible through satellite imagery? Who asked for the ceasefire there? The Pakistanis did, and we responded. So what is he talking about?
True. So, and when the US president in a conversation with the Russian president refers to his role in that ceasefire, or in the court of law, they mentioned that you've served in the United States. Saying it in a court of law has massive ramifications. Why would they be doing that?
I would tell you one thing. I think we should keep our discussion to the Indian context, in the Indian bilateral context there, because you might be treading into territory. There is enough distraction there going on otherwise. And you could have a light-hearted conversation on those things. I don't want to have that with you, because I'll say we have made it clear at the level of the External Affairs Minister that this was bilateral. By the way, that is consistent with the line we've always taken. We reject any third-party mediation, and that's been our position for a long time.
What do you make, sir, of Pakistan being on the UN Committee on Counter-Terrorism, also because you've served as a permanent representative at the United Nations, you understand the United Nations, and a country like Pakistan, a terrorist state, is on the counter-terrorism chair?
It's like this. It's very simple. Whenever a country is elected as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, all the committees which are available are handed out, distributed. The Counter-Terrorism Committee, or the 1973 committee, was earlier only headed by permanent members of the Security Council. When we came on the Security Council in 2011 and 12, I was appointed chairman of the 1973 or CTC, Counter-Terrorism Committee. And then I served on that for 2 years. Then when we were on the Security Council next time, our then PR, I think Tirumurti, also served on it for 1 year. Pakistan has not been appointed chair. It's one of the vice chairs, which has no significance. So if somebody's tom-tomming that around, they divide the committees. In any case, Pakistan has to defend itself in terms of, whether TRP is going to be listed, it has to use that. Yeah. And many Pakistani entities are proscribed entities. People who live in Pakistan are in the proscribed entities in there. So I think the fact that Pakistan has used terror as an instrument of state policy is well known. So, and they happen to be a member of the UN Security Council for a 2-year period. Well, that's a given because it's going by rotation. But I'm absolutely sure that the focus, international focus on terrorism has been there and it will be there even sharper on them.
So, as chair of Taliban committee and vice chair of counter-terrorism committee, it's not a cause for concern?
Of course, not at all. Not at all.
It will put the focus on that terror.
It will, and if they are there in any of these committees as vice chair or something, focus comes more on them. People catch on to these things. Yeah.
And the Indus Waters Treaty, when Pakistan says if Indus Waters Treaty is held in abeyance, that's an act of war, it's a violation.
No, don't take Pakistani statements. Pakistan statements and the statements of the honorable leader of the opposition are at the same level of irresponsibility. These are bilateral agreements between India and Pakistan by the World Bank. The situation has changed since then. If one commits acts of terror, which is taking away the most fundamental right of all, which is the right to life, and killing innocent people, you don't expect us. PM has made it clear. No combination of talks with terror. None. Unlike the Congress government, if terror attack hota tha, you would sit down on the negotiating table. No trade with talks, unlike the previous Congress government. And water and blood don't mix. I think it's absolutely a given. And all these friends of Pakistan or here or elsewhere, they will get the message loud and clear. Operation Sindoor has set a new template, a new benchmark. There's 22 minutes of that operation. By the way, the operation is not over. It is an ongoing operation. And I would urge caution by those who seek to do this some of loose talk, that any act of terror will be viewed as an act of war. That is the fundamental change, and that the Indian state and the political arm and our armed forces will act with a degree of resoluteness, vehemence, and without restraint. And all this business about, X, Y, Z, nuclear, this, that, I think that bluff has been called, and it will be called even more effectively if there is misbehavior of that type.
So you're not worried about Field Marshal Asim Munir being at the helm of affairs?
What did you say, Field Marshal? What did you say?
Field Marshal Asim Munir.
No, I'm not worried, no.
And so the nuclear bogey doesn't
matter. You see, the point is, in this area of social media and people putting memes or whatever they call around, there are a lot of funny stuff going around. But I think people in responsible positions should also step back and say that, if they say something which is irresponsible, it can be magnified in terms of the extent of irresponsibility and in the extent of self-inflicted wounds. And I think some of these people are going through that just now.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.